Hey racers, JonRacer3 here today, back for another tournament video. And of course, we have a whole bunch of supercars that need to be unboxed. And we have some crazy ones that need to take on this track. We have the Super 6 lane coming down into the fat track, all the way going down through the curve, and then it'll be first one to exit the track will be the winner. We have 12 cars, we'll get our matchups, and let's start racing. So here you go guys, we got the matchups. We have the Lotus Evora in green, the old Golf Porsche with the Mazda MX-5 as the track cars. Next up we have the hypercars. We got the Pagani Huayra Roadster, Porsche 918 Spider, and the McLaren 720S. The 720S is the closest thing we can get to a hypercar that would have been in this group. We got the supercar category with the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. We got the Audi R8 and the Ford GT. And last but not least, we have a Corvette Stingray, we got a BMW M1, and then a tuned Lamborghini Countach. Alright, it'll be first car to 2 wins. We'll switch lanes every time. Let's get started. Alright, for these matchups, we will try some slow-mo. But here's our first matchup. We have the Lotus, the Porsche, and the Mazda ready to take on the track. First one to 2 wins is the winner, and they will move 1 lane to the right every time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And it's going to be the Lotus taking the win. They've switched lanes. Lotus has 1 win. If it gets another win, it'll move on. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. The Lotus taking a second win and moving on. Got the Lotus moving on to the finals. We have the Porsche and the Mazda not moving on to the finals. Next up, we have the McLaren, the Porsche, and the Pagani ready to battle it out. Same rules. Which car will come out on top? Got 3 very good looking hypercars ready to take on the track. Who will take the first win? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Looks like it's going to be the Porsche just barely inching out the win. Porsche snuck the first win. Now that it's in the outside lane, can he secure a second win? Back to back just like the Lotus did? We're going to have to find out. In 3, 2, 1. It's going to be the McLaren taking the win from the Porsche. Alright, it's up to the Pagani to tie it all. If the McLaren or Porsche wins it, they're going to be moving on and meeting the Lotus in the semifinals. Who's going to take it? 3, 2, 1. It's going to be the McLaren moving on to the semifinals. Lotus and the McLaren going head-to-head in the semifinals. Now, who will be the second head-to-head match? We're going to have to get 2 victors from these 2 groups of 3. As you can see, our first group will be the Lamborghini Huracan Performante, the Audi R8, and the Ford GT. First one to 2 wins will be our victor, and we'll move on to the semifinals. Let's get started. Here are your lanes. Let's get started. In 3, 2, 1. And it's going to be the Performante, without a doubt, taking the win. The Huracan, with its debut race, has 1 win. Can he get the second one back to back? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. She's trying to get back at him, but the Huracan holds him off and moves on to the semifinals. Who's going to meet the Huracan in the semifinals? Will it be the Corvette, the BMW, or the Countach? We'll have to find out. Here are your lanes. Corvette looks very fast in that outside lane. He's going to be a car to look out for. In 3, 2, 1. That the BMW is going to hold off the Corvette, taking the win. Can the BMW pull out the clutch win? We're going to have to see. In 3, 2, 1. BMW is going to pull out the easy clutch win, taking it and moving on to the semifinals. Alright, we've got some 1v1s here. Now the 1v1s in the semifinals are going to be a little different. It'll be one race and for the cars to decide which car is faster, and then the finals will go back to 2 out of 3 because there are only 2 cars in the semifinals. This should make the elimination process a little more challenging for some of these cars, so they're going to have a really good race if they want to move on to the finals. First matchup will be the McLaren and the Lotus, and then the second matchup will be the Lamborghini and the BMW. The victors of those 2 matchups will go to the finals, best 2 out of 3, and we'll get our victor. Here are the lanes. We got Lotus in lane 1 and the Lamborghini in lane 2 because the Lotus was the first race, Lamborghini was the second. McLaren. McLaren was the second. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Tries to steer out the Lotus, but it just doesn't work. The Lotus is going to be moving on to the finals, eliminating the brand new McLaren versus the BMW. The Lamborghini was the 3rd matchup, so he's in lane 1, when the 4th matchup is the BMW, who's starting in lane 2. Alright, whichever car wins this race, we'll move on to meet the Lotus in the finals. Come on, Tommy Kill, let's see what you got. 3, 2, 1. BMW with an easy race. Here's your matchup. You've got the Lotus versus the BMW. It'll be best 2 out of 3 races. We'll switch lanes every time, and if both cars seem to have won their race and we go to a 3rd race, we will flip a coin to determine the lanes. So let's get started. Lotus will start in lane 1. The BMW will start in lane 2. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's going to be the BMW beating out Lotus in race 1. They've now switched lanes. If the BMW wins, he'll be the victor of this tournament. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. And he's not. The Lotus is going to secure the win. We're now going to have to flip a coin to see which lane the cars will be in for the deciding race. As you can see, the Lotus and BMW are in their starting lanes. And now instead of a coin, we do have a Hot Wheel. So if the Hot Wheel lands face up like it is now, they will not switch lanes. If it lands on its roof, they will switch lanes. It looks like they're not going to switch lanes, for the car did land on its wheels. So it looks like this will be how they have to start the race. Lotus versus BMW. The victor of this race is the victor of the tournament. And the Lotus pull in the clutch. 3, 2, 1. close race, but it's gonna be the BMW beating out the Lotus and taking the victory. There you guys have it. We have the new Hot Wheels BMW M1 as the victor of this tournament. All of these cars look amazing, but they were not fast enough to beat the BMW. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry the setup was a little bit of a mess. I'm still waiting on a whole bunch of shelves to get this all cleaned off, but don't worry guys, soon we'll be back to making high quality videos and pumping out awesome content for you guys. So I'll see you racers in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.
Things my intuition tells me to let her keep making